Hi there and welcome to Ian's Engage channel. I'm Ian. In a previous video I showed how I'd fitted a DCC decoder to a Graham Farish Class 20, which was the first loco I'd ever fitted a decoder to. In this video I'm going to show how I fitted a decoder to a Graham Farish Class 37. The Class 37 I was dealing with was a DCC ready version with reference number 371-465A. which has tooling from 2009. I'd already run the loco in on DC, and it seemed to run quite smoothly and pulled rolling stock very well. Obviously, this was expected from a loco fitted with a 5-pole motor with twin flywheels. However, it did seem to struggle to crawl in one direction, so it would be interesting to see how it would compare once it had been DCC fitted. Okay, so the first step to getting the loco DCC fitted was to remove the body shell. The instruction sheet that came with the Class 37 didn't go into any detail at all about how to achieve this, and simply stated, the body shell clips over the chassis and can be removed by carefully easing away from the chassis. In my experience, body shells very rarely simply ease away from their chassis, however careful you are, and at least knowing where the clips were positioned would have been a tremendous help. As I've mentioned previously, I find it strange that manufacturers don't provide more detailed instructions about how to remove body shells, as it's usually the first thing that needs to be done when performing any type of servicing. After my experience with removing the Graham Farish Class 20 body shell, I first tried removing the bogies. These came away by pushing on one side while pulling down to release one of the clips from the bogie returning hole. The second clip could then be released by pushing up and over with a bit of a wiggle to release the bogie from the chassis. Here you can see the clips on the bogie and can hopefully see how they are retained in the chassis. While I was removing the bogies, I could feel the loco's battery box move slightly. This came away easily too by pinching the sides together and then pulling. I tried to release the body at this point, but it was stuck fast and wouldn't budge. However, I now had unhindered access to the sides of the body and could go hunting for the aforementioned chassis clips. To release the clips would require some sort of pry tool. Toothpicks and cocktail sticks are my usual go-to choice of pry tool, but a comment on one of my videos from Peter Jackson, Cheadle Heath, informed me that guitar picks also work really well. So thanks for that, Peter. As I had no idea where the clips were, I placed the plectrums along each side of the body. Where resistance was encountered is where the clips were positioned. I twisted the picks gently and could hear the clips disengage, and see that the body shell had become a little wider at this point. Eventually I'd released enough clips to pull the body away. Once the body shell had been removed, it revealed the 6-pin decoder socket. As no decoder had been recommended, I decided to use a Bachmann 36-568A, which was actually a decoder manufactured by Zimmo. I'm a big fan of Zimmo decoders, especially ones with active braking functionality, and had used this type of decoder in my Class 20 to good effect. Before the decoder could be fitted, the blanking plate needed to be removed from the decoder socket. This was easily accessible, being located on top of the motor housing, and was removed by slowly and gently pulling it out of the socket. By referencing the loco instruction sheet, I located pin 1 on the decoder socket, although in retrospect I didn't really need to do this, as the pin positions were also marked on the blanking plate. I then used the decoder instructions to locate pin 1 on the decoder. Fitting the new decoder was a simple case of aligning decoder pin 1 to socket pin 1 and gently pushing the decoder into position, taking care not to bend any of the pins. And yes, I needed to use a magnifying glass to check I had located the pins correctly. Before refitting the body shell, I decided to check if the decoder was working. Before I could do this though, I needed to clip the bogies back into place. These were easily refitted by pushing them up into their chassis retaining holes and waiting to hear the click that confirmed they were back in place. Over at the test track, I keyed the default loco address into the power cab and increased the speed. The 37 pulled away nice and smoothly, which was good to see. It's always a bit of a relief to see a loco moving again after having it in pieces. While I had the loco isolated on the test track, I took the opportunity to change its decoder address. I like to base my decoder addresses on the running number of the loco and use the first 2 and last 2 digits of the running number. So 37284 becomes 3784. This was all pretty simple to do using the power cab's simple 2-line text interface. A quick check confirmed that the new address had been programmed successfully. That's typical. Before fitting the decoder, I'd recorded some footage of the 37 running on DC. While in general it ran really smoothly, it wasn't the best at crawling. As mentioned earlier, in one direction it was awful at crawling, with the gears and motor audibly protesting at the process. We're now watching some footage I shot after fitting the decoder. Seeing how the loco crawled on DCC was a bit of an eye-opener. The loco could be operated at significantly slower speeds, with no complaints from the drive mechanism whichever direction was chosen. So that's a big tick for DCC operation in my book. Okay, so that's about it for this update. I'm certainly no expert at this sort of thing, but there seems to be very little information out there about opening up locos. So, I hope any less experienced engagers watching this, needing help to gain access to their DCC ready Class 37, will have found this video useful. If so, let me know how you got on with getting into yours. That just leaves me to say, if you've got any hints, tips, useful tools or techniques to pass on to a beginner in Engage modelling, or if you simply want to say hello, then please do so in the comments section. Anything and everything you've got to say will be greatly appreciated. In the meantime, thanks ever so much for watching. Hopefully I'll have another update soon. Bye.